How not to deal with multiple problems in a hypnotherapy session? My shortest answer would be one problem at a time, but this does not equal one problem per session. Hi, everyone. I'm Berta, and I'm supporting young, or better to say, new to the hypnotherapy industry therapists, coaches, CBT practitioners, and similar. And lately, I'm talking with lots of them about some of the concerns or, let's say, teething problems that they're facing in their practice. Now, I can see how this question comes, about or where does it come from? And it's practitioners wanting to make sure that they do the right thing, which is definitely very legitimate to think that way because it can be confusing for both the therapist and their clients if you don't have some set agreement priorly. And one example is, let's say, some clients come in for one problem, and when you start the session, they start speaking about, multiple problems. They go in different avenues. For example, they signed up, let's say, for overcoming an addiction or weight loss, weight gain, or anxiety. And once you meet, before you know, they want to work on their sleep patterns as well, a relationship issue, confidence, self-esteem, self-sabotage, procrastinations. I'm naming a few. Another example for this concern is that simply you are working with scripts, and you have prepared the script for 2 hours ahead of the session for a certain problem, and now you're panicking because based on your intake or prior consultation, you do not have a ready prepared script for anything else that the client presented, or expressed during the session additionally. Or can come from you simply thinking that based on what the client told you, they need multiple sessions, like to work with one at a time. Now, there are few things to mention here. I would start right away with the practical part. That is still the way I work. Like it's a good practice to have a consultation call with a potential client before you two agree to work with one another. Notice I say you two agree, so both of you agree. So not necessarily you would want to work with just everybody and on everything. One, because unnecessarily to say, but you want it to fall under what you can work with and what you can handle at this point in time at your practice, plus other things you want to know so everyone is on the same page. For example, if they are seeing someone at the same time, if they have another medical condition that you should know about, and if it's advisable to work on top of an existing medical treatment or not, for example. Then if they present multiple issues, simply clarify with the interested person what is most important for them to start working on and go from there. This would be more or less, this would do for this part. I'm not going to go into more details here because I'll assume, it's basics, those take it only as a reminder if you happen to experience this a lot, or if you want me to add more to this, simply direct message me and I will be happy to explore some more. Now, there is one important thing here to be reminded of, very important thing, that nonetheless, we start exploring a certain issue the client decided to work on. We, as a hypnotherapist, by now know that the thing that they are presenting is not going to be the problem that we are going to help the client solve it, because they are the symptoms. Those, you see, that the possibility to start with one thing but end on working on a different thing or multiple things, let's say, may always occur in the sessions. That's also because, problems do not stand alone. And that to say, when we become free of one problem or few of them, the symptoms or the presenting problem will at some point cease to exist as well. Let me take an unrelated example so you have a better picture, a better and a clearer picture. When I say problems hold hands with other problems, think about it. Think about it like this. Let's assume you are waiting for your partner at a certain time. If you're living together, let's say, not only that they are late, but they also do not call. You start building up a story in your head. At first, you might become worried if something happened to them, But then you call, you hear them laughing with someone and tell you that they are sorry they didn't call, but do not explain anything. They say they must go, they hang up. Now you start becoming annoyed and start building an annoying story in your head. Oh, how could they forget? How are they, doing this to me? Who are they with? Could they be having an affair and whatnot? Bear in mind, I might be exaggerating a bit and speaking hypothetically, but just for demonstration. And the moment they appear at your door, you are emotionally charged now, not in a good way, and you start arguing. Now, you might have heard that emotions have a lifespan. Experts say it's about 19 seconds maximum, but if we feed them on with our imagination, they will not go away that simple. Like everything else that comes to life, emotions too want to survive and live longer. And they live longer on us, feeding them with more interpretations, conclusions, and so on. So you reach a point when you somehow decide to stop the argument, but still keep feeding the emotions. And now you do not argue anymore, but you'll be annoyed if, for example, the shoes are in the middle of the house and are not put on their place. Why are the keys on the table? The meal is cold, and so on. That's why we know that a real mini break and a deep breath will help us calm the nervous system, give space to quickly draw a lesson out of the situation, and keep on going throughout the rest of the day. Now, the same as, most of you, the same as your clients, you want faster and lasting results. Thus goes the same for exploring the problems during a session. And this is not to say that there will not be times that some clients will need multiple sessions, but the idea is to not worry about it or plan exactly on the number of sessions, because to be honest, it's almost impossible until, because people solve problems in different ways. They have different experiences, takes different times, we have to do with individuals, until perhaps after some time of long experience, you may just guess. However, now best approach in my experience so far has been shown in advanced organic conversation in hypnotherapy, where we do not use scripts at all. So it becomes, content free, no matter that you still have some frame agreed upon. And from a session, it becomes mini sessions sometimes when the clients, for example, start going in multiple avenues during and within the session that we started already. Like mini sessions happen every time with small breakthroughs when we find something of significance during the investigation phase while the client is expressing an unconscious cue. So it has to be during an unconscious moment, otherwise, it becomes really difficult. So we work around it, explore if these resources that the client come up with hold, test if they are still triggering, and move on to the next issue. As long as we hear that there is something else that hasn't been addressed, but ties up to the bigger picture. It is like doing several mini sessions in one until most of the issues we have exhausted, most of the resources as well, and we can call it off. And most of the time, not to say always, this increases the possibility for you and your client to not have to have endless sessions. So also to not be confused if it sounds like more problems are surfacing during a single session. So there are also now practitioners who decide or assume that they should see the client multiple times. And that can be the case, but it's we can't make that conclusion. Though this time I won't go in there as of now, because it's a broader avenue that merits more space. So in any case, ultimately have a clear, and clean contract with the clients at the moment you decide to work together about a certain thing, and go from there. So thank you again for your question, and until next time, thank you for tuning in again.